The Politics program is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/JURY, giving you not one, not two, not three, but 4 hours of content. 4 hours of content every single week. 3 episodes of Politics. That's free, man. That's on the house. All you pay for is the 1 episode of the Jury podcast. I am working hard for you. The R in Justin R. Young stands for respect, because I respect the value of $1, and that's why I want to spread it as far as you want to spread it there at patreon.com/JURY. Kick in whatever you can. If you can't, then go ahead and do yourself a favor and me a favor and thank somebody who does, because they are bringing this to you in a ever expansive fashion. But enough talking about how we do the show. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you say we just go ahead and start the show?
Politics. Yes.
Welcome back. It is Monday, September 22nd, and this is another episode of the Politics program, the show that brings you 3 days a week the happenings of the day, the previous days, other things, the things that happen in politics, man. Normally, this is how a news cycle works. Campaigns, they lay out a week, right? Okay, this is going to be economics week. Here's what we want to do. Let's go ahead and look what the other campaign is doing. They got a weaker issue that they want to push. So let's make sure that we get a week where we can really control the news cycle. We're going to give a big speech on Monday. Boom, there's Monday. Tuesday, we're going to presume that the other campaign has said something back. So we're going to include all of our new economic stuff in the stump speech, and we're going to wait and kind of counterpunch to see how they decide to react to it. But that's the idea, is you run things Monday through Friday, because that's when people are paying attention to things. Man, people do all other sorts of other crap during the weekend, man. They're out there getting drunk, taking their kids to soccer practice, trying to finger each other. Like, there's just a lot of things that people do, and that's normally weekend business, Saturday, Sunday business, Friday night business. No one's paying attention to, all the news. No one's reading the Daily Caller on a Saturday night. I'm sure there's some people are. Shout out to Tucker Carlson. I'm sorry, Tucker Carlson. I'm just saying. Did I say it was September 22nd? It's September 12th. If only there was a day or something around this date that would have made me remember it. All right, so normally you don't do things on weekends, right? Because not a lot of people pay attention to it. But this was a weekend, man. There are days and there are days when it comes to the kind of weekend that Hillary Clinton had, and it was not good. Not good. Before we get into that, let me get into a little note, a little correction. This is a show that very much prides itself on its ability to go back and say, hey, we were wrong. We are a community. We are a family. We are encouraging of a grand discussion where nothing is necessarily off limits, including filling me in on something that I did not know. And it is in that spirit that we thank Andy Baumel, who hit me up on Twitter, that the quote that John Kerry very, very awkwardly uttered while going to get his hunting license to go do a photo op was, "Can I get me a hunting license here?" And people wonder why I love politics. politics. How awkward is that? This dude, John Kerry, if you were to make him in a lab, make New England blue blood in a lab, it's John Kerry, right? Walks in to an Ohio hunting office, a fish and game office or whatever, and it says, "Can I get me a hunting license here?" This is the best. It's so good. All right, so thank you to Andy. I couldn't remember that exact quote. I'm so glad that you did. All right, so let's start out. Here's Hillary Clinton. We're the Hilldawgs. The Hilldawgs have got their tail between their legs today. It's a bad weekend. Bad weekends happen. Great campaigns, winning campaigns, presidential campaigns. They all got bad weekends, right? Everybody's got stuff that they're going to have to get over. This is something that Hillary Clinton has to get over. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Because it's unbecoming. I saw a lot of liberal panic this weekend. Oh, my good God. All right, here. Well, let's just start about the news. Here's the quote from Hillary Clinton. "I know there are only 60 days left to make our case. And don't get complacent. Don't see the latest outrageous, offensive, inappropriate comment and think, well, he's done it this time. We are living in a volatile political environment. You know, just to be grossly generalistic, you could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables, right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it. And unfortunately, there are people like that, and he has lifted them up. He has given voice to the websites that used to have 11,000 people and now have 11 million people." Damn, according to Hillary Clinton, that click view boost is real. That is the truth. I mean, okay, so where to break this down? Well, she gets in trouble for the phrase basket of deplorables and for doing, kind of the cardinal sin of politics is even if you understand that you are playing a game wherein you are not talking to 25% of the electorate because they will never give you a chance, you don't say it. Because at the end of the day, if you win, you still got to be their president. And the last thing you want to do is basically say, yeah, we're never going to get along. You're never going to vote for me. You're going to hate everything I do when I'm in the White House. So let's just understand it. I got peace among worlds for you. Pop, pop, pop. I got two birds like I'm David Copperfield, and I'm going to let them fly. Like, you can't just do that. It's a bad look. You can't say basket of deplorables. Number one, it's just a great line. I ran this poll. I want to see whether or not people here would agree. Basket of deplorables, more likely to be a Korn with a K song or a Marilyn Manson album. Basket of deplorables. Because everybody in the 90s, every spooky band in the 90s, they were all like that Tim Burton creepy girl kind of aesthetic. I feel like, what do you think? Korn or Manson? Korn or Manson? Throw it in the chat room. I'm very curious which way you guys vote on this one. Because I think it says a lot about America. But here we go. So I got a lot of people saying Manson, but you want to know what? I feel like you're not familiar enough with Korn. Get some Korn in your life. Head, Monkey, Jonathan Davis, boys from Bakersfield. I grew up in the mid-'90s. Moving on. So here we go. I see a lot of people now. I see a lot of people this weekend. But she's not wrong. But she's not wrong. Knock it off. I'm just letting you know. Knock it off. It's not a winning argument. You don't want to get into a winning argument about exactly how racist America is. A, America doesn't want to talk about it. be the only people that find it interesting or people who are already voting for Hillary Clinton. And C, all it does is perpetuate the absolute worst thing that a liberal presidential candidate can do, which is portray a sense of superiority. Because, from back in the Civil War, the idea of the have and the have-nots, the city mouse and the country mouse, is the city mouse thinks that he has it all going on. He's got his nose in the air. Country mouse is a man of the earth. I mean, I guess a mouse of the earth. Sure, he ain't got all those fancy things that you got out there in the city, but you want to know what? Life moves by just fine. It's just run. The basket of deplorables thing, just ditch it. Don't talk about it. Don't defend it. If it's said, shut your mouth. Talk about something else. Talk about Hillary's health, which we're going to get into. But it is a loser of an issue. Want to know why? Well, let's go ahead and take a look. I don't know if y'all remember this, but this was a clip 4 years ago, as published by Mother Jones. This is, did somebody forget their mittens? Romney at a fundraiser. This was also at a fundraiser, by the way. I think it was a gala. Hillary's was at an LGBT gala. This clip comes from a fundraiser in West Palm Beach. This is Mitt Romney's comments that got him in trouble 4 years ago.
7% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. That it's an entitlement, and the government should give it to them. And they will vote for this president no matter what. And I mean, the president starts off with 48, 49, 40, he starts off with a huge number. These are people who pay no income tax. 47% of Americans pay no income tax. So our message of low taxes doesn't connect. And he'll be out there talking about tax cuts for the rich. I mean, that's what they sell every 4 years. And so my job is not to worry about those people. I'll never convince them that they should take personal responsibility and care for their lives. What I have to do is convince the 5 to 10% in the center that are independent, that are thoughtful, that look at voting one way or the other depending upon, in some cases, emotion, whether they like the guy or not.
There it is. 47%. Let's go ahead and listen to just the meat of that there.
Off with a huge number. These are people who pay no income tax. 47% of Americans pay no income tax. So our message of low taxes doesn't connect. And he'll be out there talking about tax cuts for the rich. I mean, that's what they sell every 4 years. And so my job is not to worry about those people. I'll never convince them.
This was a big issue for Mitt Romney at the time because it reinforced what was already being set up as the caricature of who he was. He was elitist. He was out of touch. There was no way that this cartoon drawing of a rich white man could ever heal the nation or speak to the nation like this cosmopolitan first black president could, right? That was the broad way that the Obama campaign successfully caricatured Mitt Romney. And this gives you every bit of ammo that you need to hammer that home. What is the cardinal sin of that quote? The cardinal sin of that quote isn't necessarily even that he would make the case that the low tax argument doesn't resonate with 47% of, I mean, I don't even know if he was saying all Americans. No, he said all Americans. 47% of Americans don't pay taxes. So he's saying that there is these demographic hurdles, right? And that he needs to appeal to a very slim margin, while the Democrats will peddle the tax overtaxing the rich or whatever, which is what he says they peddle every 4 years. But really the issue is not even the 47% thing. Because at the end of the day, it's wonky. And really the issue, the problem that he had was that he had already become a caricature before. And this was proof as to why it existed. If Donald Trump had run a better campaign and had, instead of just running on the well-worn tropes of the right and all the assorted crimes that Hillary Clinton had held up or has been guilty of, according to conservatives, and if he had done the kind of job that Obama did on Romney in saying he looks down on you, and Trump had caricatured Hillary by saying she looks down on you, then what we just saw, basket of deplorables, would have been worse. It's bad now because in general, that's just kind of the assumption, is that liberals look down on conservatives. But it would have been way worse, way, way, way worse if Trump had done more to set this kind of stuff up. So when people talk about the game, here's the game. Create your caricature and then fill it in with whatever facts you can. And hope that the American people buy your premise. The reward for that is either your opponent's voters staying home because they don't like this person anymore, you getting independents to vote for you, and you turning out your base. That is how you win the game. So is Hillary Clinton's basket of deplorables her 47%? No, because they were in different positions. 47% at the time was looked at as kind of the final proof that Mitt Romney couldn't come back. That stuck, that was so resonant that there was no way he could come back from it. That was part of the issue. I don't think that anybody would have thought that this Hillary thing was going to be, the major issue that it was over the weekend. But hell, it didn't even escape the weekend as the biggest thing that people are talking about. No. Instead, that was the collapse. And we will talk about that. But first, we're going to talk about stickers or DIAF. Hey, friends, head on over to stickers or DIAF right now. If you do that, then you can go ahead and get 7 stickers for $5. Even better value. They all have our Diamond Club logo on it, and they were drawn by Carter Johnson, the amazing Carter Johnson. They stick inside or outside. Support the show. Support the Diamond Club community by going to stickers or DIAF.com. And by the contender, the game of presidential debate. Make sure that you get your debate party ready right now. Order now. Buy now, especially if you're international, because we are shipping them. I'm going to head over there to the Contender HQ and pack up some packages as soon as we are done with this show. I'm so excited that people have been responding to this, especially everybody outside of the country, Canada, UK, Australia. Head on over there right now. Australia, I lied to you, and I said that we had Australian shipping like a week ago. We didn't have it easily available on our website. Now we do. So please, I will throw in a little present for every Aussie that orders it. So go ahead and check it out. thecontender.us. Let's even let's just go ahead and get into this video here. This is the video that everybody is talking about. Hillary Clinton getting into her Sprinter van. Maybe it's a GMC. I can't really tell. After the 9/11 memorial in New York City yesterday. Here we go. This is Hillary Clinton getting into her van. I will narrate it for the audio listeners. The van pulls up. Hillary is leaning up against a pole. She looks very wobbly. She gets, two Secret Service agents who have their hands very much under her arms, and it looks like she is being stuffed in the back of the back of that van in the same way that you would stuff your friend who has too much to drink into the back of a car to go home. She is out of it. She looks way out of it. Like to the point where there's a question on exactly how cognizant she was. She seemed to be standing up with the aid of that pole initially, but, past that, the question is exactly how much she has control of her body. And it is this that I will crown for you. I don't think, as Acord suggested, that she was passed out for Harambe. I don't think that she was passed out for Harambe. I don't know if the Kush was too loud on Hillary. If the Kush was too loud on Hillary, we're down to, all right, half vape pen pulls. Gary can handle the one vape pen pull. You only go half on that one, Hilldawg. Here's the problem. She passed out. She all of a sudden has been very, very dismissive about the fact that, it's all this alt-right press. Chris Cillizza of the Washington Post comes out in something that we covered here on the show. When can we stop talking about Hillary Clinton's health? It's a loser issue. It's being driven by Matt Drudge. It is worthless. Well, now we're going to talk about Hillary's health a lot more. And now Hillary's going to need to talk about Hillary's health a lot more, and she already has. Initially, it was just she overheated. Then it was allergies. Now we get word from the Hillary Clinton campaign that on Friday she was diagnosed with pneumonia. She's going to cancel her attendance at a fundraising event here in San Francisco, and she is not going to make her scheduled speech in L.A. on Tuesday, which was going to be one of her big economic speeches. She will probably give that economic speech somewhere in the Northeast, closer to home. It's not that she fainted. It's not that she got sick. It's not that she's been doing this cough thing. Here's the problem. And you've seen this from Democratic sources. David Axelrod, one of Obama's brain trust, lit into Hillary Clinton on Twitter yesterday, basically saying, hey, look, antibiotics can cure whatever ails you physically, but what is the remedy for somebody that is so unnecessarily secretive that she creates her own problems? According to some of the reporting, some of Hillary's top aides did not know that she was diagnosed with pneumonia. Her campaign certainly wasn't acting like she was diagnosed with pneumonia. And who knows, here's the problem, whether or not she was diagnosed with pneumonia. Now, I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm saying that when you are not forthright about stuff like this, people make up what they want. So now it's hard to come clean. It's hard to be truthful if you have previously been evasive. Now here is where the 47% thing comes back. Because why was 47% a problem? Because Mitt Romney was looked at as Mr. Burns meets Frankenstein. That's how Barack Obama wanted the American electorate to think of him. And Mr. Burns meets Frankenstein would sit in front of a bunch of other rich white people and say, hey, half the people aren't going to vote for me because they're poor. Not like us. Am I right, boys? Gigantic beer stein clink. Although I guess he has to be root beer because he's Mormon. Like that's that image that projects. That becomes evidence for how Barack Obama wanted everybody to think of Mitt Romney, right? The one thing that has been indelibly messaged from the primaries through the general, the one brand element that Donald Trump has that is crystal clear, it is a clarion call into the electorate's minds, is he's not a politician. Part of what goes along with that is that he isn't. All right, and this is, I'm going to ask everybody to calm down, get your pies preemptively cooled. His messaging is he isn't evasive like a politician. He'll tell you who he donated to. That's, by the way, everybody's going after this Pam Bondi thing that, it was an actual pay-for-play scheme. Well, duh. The reason why this is not a political story is because he got up on stage and talked about how he donated to everybody and how he expected favors for that money. So it's like, yeah, he did it, but he's admitted he did it on stage. So, we didn't catch him in a lie. He did this thing. You can ask him questions about it, but ultimately, if he says nothing, he can always, in his campaign, can always point out, hey, he was on stage and he said that he donates money and he expects favors for him, and that's wrong, and that's why he's running. So that's why the Pam Bondi story is just not as big. It's not as big. Now, Donald Trump not being a politician is part, and especially because Hillary is the consummate politician, the one messaging that they've pushed over and over is just the same old, right? Hillary Clinton's the same old. If she continues to be this level of evasive, I'm not saying it'll cost her from winning, but this is the kind of stuff that becomes a problem. You start taking real damage when you feed into the other person's narrative of you. The most blowout this election looked was when Hillary Clinton was pushing effectively the messaging that Donald Trump was an unhinged lunatic who could not be trusted with the Oval Office. And Donald Trump obliged her with that by getting into fights with a Gold Star family. That's real damage. When you steer into that criticism, that's real damage. So Donald Trump will spend this week talking about baskets of deplorables. He will try to be a bigger man on that. That's another problem. Because again, Hillary Clinton's definition of Donald Trump is he's not the bigger man. He's a thin-skinned baby person who's got tiny little baby hands and gets very upset. That's her interpretation of him. So if Donald Trump is saying, hey, like he did this week, hey, I might not agree with a lot of Hillary Clinton voters, but I think that they're tremendous people. Now he looks like the bigger man. Looks like he's trying to stay away, that Kellyanne Conway has a shock collar on him, and whenever he wants to talk about Hillary Clinton's health, she's going to jack those volts into his neck. Because they seem like they want, the Trump campaign wants to talk more about basket of deplorables than the health thing. Here's why. The health issue really is never that big of a deal. Unless you are on death's door, it's not that big of a deal at all. Wasn't that big of a deal with McCain. Didn't help the fact that he looked like an older dude while Barack Obama was, skateboarding. But in general, people who run for president are old. We don't expect them to be in perfect health. We expect them to survive for 8 years. And really, that's all you need to prove. Are you likely, statistically, to survive for 8 years? Or do you have some kind of disease that will kill you within the next 8 years? Is this an issue? What do we look out for? Well, specifically, here's what we look out for with Hillary. We look out for when she gets back on the road and how subtly she wants to try to steer away from this. The word is now that she is going to be releasing a comprehensive medical evaluation. I suspect that once they talk about it, they're going to want to be done with it. But I'm also saying this. I've said this since the conventions. Hillary Clinton needs an everything on the table interview. Not a managed one. You can get a friendly person. George Stephanopoulos can do it. Make it friendly. Make it colloquial. But she's got to answer questions about everything. Everything. And they don't necessarily even have to be good answers. They just need to be answers. Answers about Lewinsky, about Whitewater, about her health, about her friendship with Huma Abedin. All of it. Again, these don't have to be great answers. But one of the biggest liabilities that she has right now is secrecy, is evasiveness. That she will do things behind closed doors that she's not supposed to and then will lie about it to cover it up. It's at the heart of the emails. It's at the heart of the Benghazi thing. And she might think, it's just people trying to play politics. It's people trying to be aggressive. We won't show any of our underbelly. We will always, we will guard, we will block, we will deny if we are hit. We will never give in to that. But that's pretty much her only, that's the weakness she needs to mitigate. And if all it took was for her to seem like somebody who was more open and honest than she used to be, well, I think it would really do wonders for her. All right, let's go ahead into Map Monday. This is where we take a look at one of the states that will shape our election. We are going to do it with the 538 presidential model. It is the one that I like the best. It is the one that I have paid the most attention to. So if you like other models, like I think the Daily Kos has one, New York Times has Upshot. I like the 538 one. Sue me. Let's take a look at Iowa. Iowa is a battleground state this year. Right now, 538 has it at a razor-thin margin of Hillary Clinton with a 50.1% chance of winning and Donald Trump at a 49.8% chance of winning. We've got, here's the problem. I guess now we've sort of stepped up. Since the beginning of August, there has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 polls, with the latest being a Raba research poll having Trump up 40% on Clinton's 39%. How much does Iowa mean? Well, again, I think we were talking about this with one of the maps last week, that the issue with a lot of these states are not necessarily that they are going to be the deciding the deciding electoral votes, right? The issue is more that if you see certain states go certain ways, they might be precursors to either neighboring states or to a general national attitude. Like, Hillary Clinton's not going to win Georgia if she doesn't win North Carolina, for example, right? So Iowa is kind of more of a must-win for Trump, because Trump really has to turn out working class, non-college educated whites. And there are a lot of them in Iowa. So if Trump can't win Iowa, it spells more of a problem for him than it does for Hillary Clinton not winning Iowa. Because, if Hillary Clinton does not have, the 6 electoral votes that Iowa gifts its winner, It's not the end of the world for her. You know, and now there's the question of whether or not, like, what the real tipping point states are. That if Hillary Clinton wins Pennsylvania, which is kind of the thing, Democrats win Pennsylvania, although it is always close. If that happens, then maybe Ohio's less of the tipping point state and more Florida. But we can get into that. That is Map Monday with Iowa. Send me where you think we should do Map Monday. We're still trying to figure out a lot of these segments. I just need to fill in a pole dance segment. Nothing's going to be as exciting as the pole dance, but I just want to have something. I want to have something on Monday. All right, everybody. You can email me, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. We like to start things off with a tortured metaphor. Phil Bowen has obliged us. He suggests Imperator Hillary just wants to rescue reproductive rights from the grisly clutches of the Republican Party shot at a conservative court, so she steals a campaign bus and turns left. Can she outrun the opposition with a cold? Meanwhile, Immortan Trump is closing into the polls atop his hate-fueled monster truck rented to the campaign funds at an unjustifiable rate, while his contemptible basket of pasty white alt-right war boys howl unfiltered anger in 140 characters or less. Mad Max is, I don't know, Bernie. Whiteness me, suggests Phil Bowen. Again, send your tortured metaphors to theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Make sure you put tortured metaphor in the subject line. Joshua Sudak writes, I was giving some thoughts to your assertion of Gary Johnson's Aleppo gaffe might have been the best thing to happen to his campaign thus far. And damn, you might be right, especially with Donald Trump making much ado about Hillary Clinton's health and stamina, as if somebody contracting pneumonia should be a disqualifying factor. With Trump deciding that his Monday morning play would be to release his own health records, wouldn't it be awesome if Johnson challenged Trump to a real test of health and stamina? The contest would be, say, a race to the top of Trump Tower, going from the basement to the roof using nothing but the stairs. I would love if Gary Johnson challenged Donald Trump to walking or running to the top of Trump Tower. In fact, I think Gary Johnson should do it anyway. Gary Johnson, tell you what, put down the vape pen and run up the Trump Tower stairs. I think this is an amazing thing. Of course, Trump will never do it, but Gary Johnson could. Gary Johnson could say, hey, listen, you're going to pour through these 70 pages of medical records? Are you going to check out the truth, son? And just, all day, running these stairs. Don't make me come to Chappaqua, Hilldawg. I'll do it in your building, too. I'll run up and down the street. No shirt, Gary Johnson style. Pachow. Zachary Dirtz writes, so I had no idea what Aleppo was when I saw the headlines, and I thought people were wondering what an Aleppo was. Was it a new breed of dog? Something Gary Johnson smoking? A half alligator, half hippopotamus? When I found out, I was like, oh, so he didn't know the name of a city in Syria. Neither did I. But he clearly had thought about the actual issue, which to me is what matters. The fact that he didn't blame anyone, to me, makes him a more attractive candidate, so I would tend to agree that it was an overall positive. Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing, is like, it ain't like people are still talking about the Aleppo thing, except for in politics, right? Like, I'm talking about it because we're reading emails that were probably written last week. So at the end of the day, Gary Johnson got a bunch of coverage, and I don't think people are going to remember him as the Aleppo guy. Want to know why? Because most people don't remember Aleppo. No one even knows what Aleppo is. Like, and yes, it makes us bad people. Joe from Wisconsin writes, so as a whole, our country isn't too keen of either of the presidential candidates, right? I mean, the fact that you have the race for 150% disapproval rating, and the fact that might be and it might be an actual thing that happened says enough. So the idea popped into my head a few days ago. What if one of the candidates, presumably the one that's obviously going to lose, which has only applied to Trump up to this point, essentially removed all campaign promises? No more proposals about how they'll fix taxes or strengthen the military or make better trade deals. Instead, they just start running as a placeholder president. Somebody who won't make too many waves until they're in office, or while they're in office, but also make sure that the train stays somewhat on track. In fact, and this is the root of my pondering, what if one of the candidates ran and the biggest plank of their platform would that be they'd only run for one term? Get rid of the crooked Hillary can't be trusted and the Trump's too crazy to be president jargon, and just say, all right, guys, I know you don't like either of us. If you vote me in, I'll just keep the seat warm for whomever is next, and I promise I won't run again in 2020. All right, this one got me thinking here, Joe. Thank you for writing it. Is there somebody in America right now that could just be everybody's president? If they ran without a party, right? Just said, you want to know what? It's getting too hot with this political stuff. I want to be just a game manager president. Let's just make sure that, I'm not making any promises. I'm not trading any horses. I'm not involved in this. I literally just want to, let's just see what a baseline government is when nobody is, gets to call upstairs to referee it, right? Let's let the Senate and the House be the Senate and the House. Let's just not worry about, hey, Supreme Court justices, literally, I'm just going to find somebody that, is a law scholar. No litmus tests. We're just going to go as boring as possible. You would need somebody that was almost universally well-liked. You would need somebody that was absolutely, unimpeachably popular. You would need somebody. I don't know. Maybe we'll try and think this out here. We do have we got one more email here, and if you have anybody to suggest, then go ahead and send that in. Nigel writes, "Howdy, Justin. I'm in Illinois. Did you enjoy that prosecco from the Jury in Your House tour? I did. And I could really go either way for Trump or Johnson. Clinton is not an option for me for reasons I don't want to spend precious time discussing. So, in your humble opinion, which of the two aforementioned candidates should I vote for when my state is so heavily blue that it won't matter?" You want to know what? I think there's only one person. I think you should take this step. You should vote for the universally popular president. You should vote for the man that can unite this country. And I will play his song now.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
That's it. Dwayne, you need it. If you would like to email this show, it is theyoungamerican@gmail.com. You can buy The Contender at thecontender.us. Music has been provided by Valesco and Trop Killers. Of course, follow me at Justin R. Young. Everywhere, that is Snapchat, that is Twitter, that is Instagram. Go ahead and hit me up. Hit me up on Snapchat right now and just point at me for an uncomfortably long amount of time. Download all the episodes of this show at bonerwars.com.
Politics.
Of course, folks, some shows talk about politics. Others talk about politics. We're the only show that really talks about politics. See you on Wednesday, live in Austin.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.